I didn't even think about death. But shooting actually those Russian tanks, going through there, they can shoot me. Anybody who had a camera was shot immediately by a Russian soldier. At that time, I didn't think about that. But I felt that I had to photograph it.
You were alive and holding a camera at a very important time in history. You had to think, I'm doing something important.
It's very easy to make beautiful pictures, but pictures which mean something with what's in it. But that's a totally different story.
I took a walk through this beautiful world, felt the cool rain on my shoulder, found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la.
You know these images. You grew up with them. They're burned into your brain. They're iconic sequences. Framed and lit and seen through the lens in ways that changed filmmaking forever. All made by the same man. So, who made these beautiful things? Where did he come from? It didn't begin in Hollywood. It began here, in the streets of Budapest. What about his life, his past, his upbringing, led him again and again to look through a piece of glass and make images like these. But first, some context. And schnitzel. Did I mention schnitzel? It's beautiful here. They said that, of course, that Budapest is beautiful. But it is, in fact, almost ludicrously beautiful. A riot of gorgeous architectural styles, palaces, grand public spaces, former mansions of various princelings, the remains of a long-gone empire, still here. Still here. If there was such a thing as building porn, it would be this. Just looking out the window as you drive or trolley by, you think, I want that. Who lives there? Who lived there? What's it like inside? And where did they go? From high up Gellert Hill, you get a sense of the layout of the city. Divided, split by the Danube River, Buda on one side, Pest on the other. Hungary's capital, literally divided in two. Historically a crossroads of Eastern and Western worlds. Which is which now? Which is Buda and which is Pest?
We are in Buda. If you can look down, you're always in Buda.
Okay.
If you look up to something, then you're in Pest.
Peter Zilahi is a Budapest-born poet and performance artist.
According to the myth I was brought up in, if you're in Buda, you are in Europe, and the other side is Asia. This was the border of the Roman Empire originally. This big river.
Right here.
Yeah.
Why didn't they cross?
The other side is flat. It's hard to defend, and there were all these tribes that were like really vicious and not as civilized as the Romans believed. So.
They've all been here. The Celts, the Romans, Mongols, the Ottoman Turks. All had their way or tried. All left their mark to one extent or another. Then, mid-19th century, the curious, seemingly improbable Austro-Hungarian Empire. And this is when the city came into its own, fueled by untold wealth, accumulated power, and ambition. Architecturally, intellectually, a great city, one of the world's greatest.
And that was the time when Budapest was a really progressive metropolis, you know, like the first subway in the continent of Europe was in Budapest. Parliament had like a very sophisticated air conditioning system. So people wanted to come here, wanted to live here, wanted to start a career, wanted to build places like this because it was a good investment.
The New York Café is one of the last remnants of a society where artists and writers were valued citizens, regardless of financial means.
When this cafe was built, there were more than 500 cafes in this neighborhood. And this was the biggest and nicest cafe in the world at the time, never to be closed.
Here, like in most cafes at that time, a few cents or a few bucks could buy you space all day long, sipping your coffee, thinking great thoughts. Nobody would hassle you. It was a petri dish of creativity. No hipster neckbeard barista would make you feel bad about not spending any dough.
Waiters were speaking several languages and
Right.
they read literature and they invited the writer occasionally if he didn't have money because they appreciated their literature. Where are we now compared to that?
Don't try that now, of course. Today's New York Cafe patrons spend both their time and their money on things like goose liver terrine. Foie gras is everywhere in Hungary, all over every menu, and it's good, real good. Peter's going for the lamb ragu, a soup.
If you would look like a writer, they immediately would bring you a paper and ink, would bring up the dictionary, whatever you were looking for. Also, most people didn't have telephones at home.
Right.
And you could be called here, you could get your mail.
Why do I want to attract writers? It's like, I need more jazz musicians in my restaurant. No, they're deadbeats.
Yeah, it was
There's
different.
no money there.
It was a different time. It was not simply about the money.
So it was about...
Identity.
Yeah, we want to be the place that attracts the best and the brightest. Yeah. Even if they don't have money. Yeah. Those days are never
No,
return.
those days will never return.
Lovely, thank you.
For the main courses, Peter gets the fillet of perch. I'm going for the pork throttle stew, mostly because I like the sound of throttle.
That is beautiful. That makes me very happy. If I were to ask most Hungarians, when were the good old days?
Yeah, you have the answer.
Right.
It's right
This.
here, it's surrounding us.
Of course, it's not all foie gras and fine wines. There are other pleasures just as awesome. Maybe even more awesome. Like this. Plesharda, a smoky, chilly, working-class joint run by István Babel for the last 25 years. And for obvious reasons, beloved by locals.
It's been a long time coming, my friend.
And here's why. Look at this. A golden brown pancake heaped with chicken livers, covered, nay, drowned with a rich, deeply satisfying sauce of bone marrow.
I gotta tell you, this is great. Now, some of you have noticed and complained that I don't really describe food anymore on the show. That's a deliberate strategy on my part, actually. It's really a lot like writing porn. After you've used the same adjectives over and over, like, you know, the penthouse letters. Look at it. It's chicken livers, it's bone marrow, it's paprika, it's a delicious pancake. Is it gonna make your life better at all if I describe exactly how while smacking my lips annoyingly? No. It's good.
Venison stew, delicious. And then this. This.
Good. Holy. Really? Good Lord, Jeebus. This I need a photo of. Put a human hand next to it. That's just truly terrifying. Who eats that?
Behold the massiveness, the surfboard-sized, fried to order in a pan to only the highest standards, schnitzel of justice. Ride that baby all the way home.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Deeply textured pork flavor with hints of 3-day-old fryer grease. If a big wave came, I could surf this thing back to my hotel.
I kid you not. This is a testament to a great culture. Also gout, but who's counting?
Actually, I might be able to get through this thing. Do I get a t-shirt if I finish this? Or my picture on the wall?
We are, all of us perhaps, called to serve a higher purpose. Put here on earth to do God's mysterious will. Daniel Mate is here for this, to spread the gospel of meat, Hungarian meat-related wisdom in all its delicious, delicious variety. Like St. Francis of Assisi, he wanders the earth doing good works. In this case, highlighting the ancient arts of butchery, sausage making, and the preparation of many of the Lord's creatures, as he himself would no doubt like to see them prepared.
What did you heard about the Budapest butchers?
Not much.
We have about 70 butchers in Budapest.
70.
Yeah, in which you can find a small corner with hot meat and roasted meats and so on and so on.
It's very...
Wherever you are, you can, in 5 minutes walk, you can find a butcher where you can eat something.
And on this particular corner, Belvaroshi Disnotoros, one of Daniel's favorites.
So, you're not a butcher. You're not in the food business. What is your, what do you do?
I'm an
for a
economist.
You're an economist, as I understand it. You go from butcher shop to butcher shop investigating
Yeah, because
old school butchers. Why do you do that?
Because I really like it. And someone in 2011, I saw that I'm not alone with this. So
Right.
we should make a fan club. And then I started to write them on Facebook. And nearly 10,000 likes on Facebook, and they are active.
It's so unusual that there are so many, because in France, Germany, in the States, the old school butchers who know how to do all of these things, they're disappearing. You know, their kids aren't doing it.
It's not easy to be a butcher nowadays in Hungary, but with this catering function,
Right.
they
Doing
try to-
prepared food.
Yeah, they try to save themselves.
Yes, there are many boutique cuts of meat available, as one would expect from a master butcher. But then there's this, a field of dreams, a landscape of braised and fried and cured delights that seem, under glass, to go on forever.
A good Hungarian butcher shop, they should be able to cut meat, cure meat, make sausage, and cook preparations as well.
Yeah.
Look at that, there he goes. So beautiful. I mean, there's no comparison with a supermarket. Plus, you could ask them, what's good today?
Today, oh look, what great timing. They're making one of my favorites, blood sausage.
You have to say it in English because I can't.
Paprika.
It's paprika.
Oregano?
No, then
Thyme? Marjoram.
margin.
Allspice.
Here comes the rice,
Okay. Here comes the blood.
and here comes the blood.
Beautiful. So good. Salt.
And the sugar. I don't understand why.
It makes flavors pop. Beautiful.
Season and right into the tube.
Dick jokes coming. Stand by for dick jokes. All right, so what do we have here? Ooh, that looks good. Some nice pickles. Braised red cabbage.
Over there, from the mighty shanks of some mythical creature perhaps, a Batalosaurus, or a Deliciosaurus at least, slow braised until the meat is falling off the bone. And let there be blood, delicious, delicious blood, in tube form, served still steaming, nay, heaving, engorged as you will with goodness, to squirt across your plate as you press against it with the side of your fork.
So delicious. So how often do you do this?
2 or 3 times a week.
Uh-huh. What distinguishes a good butcher from an okay butcher?
Actually, I myself like all butchers.
They're doing good business here.
And it's cheap.
Yeah?
I can't tell you which is my favorite butcher in Budapest because
Yeah.
all of them is different.
Right. You ever just go out for like a salad? No, I'm kidding. I kid.
There is another long tradition of artistry here in Budapest. We grew up with their works. Visual artists, photographers, filmmakers. Where did they all go? Well, World War I happened, and with it, the end of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Budapest and all Europe changed forever. A decades-long wave of emigration began. A stunning number of the world's great photographers fled their native Hungary and took up new lives. Eventually, this man joined them.
I've been shooting still since I remember I was living, basically. I was 5 or 6 years old when I was taking pictures with my father's Kodak camera. The right moment you have to capture, and that's the difficult part. The exact moment which told the story. The Hungarians, there is this thing to excel. My father was not really an artist. He was a soccer player, a very good one. He said, son, whatever you do, you have to be the best at it. First, not second, you have to be first. Because otherwise it's not worth it.
Vilmos Zsigmond, legendary cinematographer. If for some reason you don't know the name, you sure as hell know his work. The Oscar-winning Close Encounters, The Deer Hunter, his absolutely revolutionary work on McCabe and Mrs. Miller, The Long Goodbye, Deliverance. He created a whole new palette, took crazy risks, changed film language in ways people still try to imitate. And he's making our camera crew very nervous, I can tell you.
You self-taught yourself. You taught yourself to shoot.
Basically, I always tried to use my father's little Kodak camera. My luck was actually that I became sick with some kidney disease. I was in bed for a month, and then uncle of mine gave me a book about Eugene Dulovich, who was a great photographer. I bought a camera for myself and started to take just amateur pictures.
One thing that hasn't changed through the years is the Hungarian affection for taking the waters, marinating in thermal baths, a tradition going back to the Romans, continued by the Ottomans, and something that survived right through 2 wars and communism. And they do it in style.
Who came here back in those days? Was this reserved for, did anyone who wanted to could come here?
Well, you know, money-wise, it was, since nobody really made enough money, so everybody could afford it basically because it was cheap.
Right.
In Hungary, you have so many spots.
There are many bathhouse spas, Baroque, elaborately appointed wedding cakes built atop mineral-rich hot springs gurgling from the earth. None more beautiful or storied than the Gellert.
So you arrived in Budapest around age 21. What was the city like then?
It was always beautiful in those days. I mean, they could not, they were ruins after the war, 1945, I think. Half of the city was still in ruins. They didn't do much. They didn't have money,
When you first moved here to go to film school, what was your average day like other than your studies? What did you do for fun back then? What were your options?
Our options were zero. Imagine that we had in the school, there were very little help from the government, very little money. It was good enough to have breakfast and lunch, or breakfast for dinner. You had to skip one lunch if I wanted to buy a pair of socks. So we were very, very poor. But I must say that under this whole 4 years, this is probably my happiest part of my life under communism, because I was learning cinematography. So I fell in love immediately.
In fact, some of Vilmos's most powerful and world-changing footage occurred around this time. before leaving Hungary as a film student during the outbreak of revolution. But we'll get to that later. In many ways, Vilmos Zsigmond's career as one of the great cinematographers in film history begins here, in Szeged, about 200 kilometers south of Budapest. Here he was raised by his father, who worked many jobs to make ends meet. Weekends and warmer months all over Hungary, wherever there's a river and fish, places like this are thronged with families. And here, along the Tisza River, is no exception. Here, young Vilmos and his dad would come and eat halászlé, the local specialty, a fish soup.
How old were you when you first came to this place?
I must have been about 7 years old. No, my father was really great. In those years, actually, he didn't have much time, but occasionally he wanted to take me away somewhere, you know, on a day away from work. Because he loved this place, actually. He loved it, especially this charda, this fish soup.
Ooh, that's murky and good looking.
Yeah.
Need some bread for this, for sure.
Pike from the river simmered low and slow in a rich fish stock with a healthy amount of onions and the near ubiquitous but always delicious paprika.
Ooh, that's good, right?
Good. As a kid, I loved that. That fish tastes so good.
During the summer, they open the windows, they eat outside, what?
And then they go and swim in the river. It was a great place. It used to be a great place for fun. And you know, at night, we used to come here at night when the gypsies were playing music. And I loved that, actually. I always loved gypsy music. They were playing Hungarian songs. I had a very happy childhood. It was good times until the war got in and then stopped all that happiness, you know. There was just hard times.
Were you fully aware of how grave things were?
Near the end of the war, until the Germans came in, and then the Allies started to bomb us. And they started to take Jews, actually, into working camps. That started to be very, very ugly.
For people of your generation who grew up, these were incredibly insecure times. Psychologically, what do you think that teaches you as far as a worldview? Do you become more adaptable? Do you become more suspicious? Do you become more cynical?
It's about survival, actually. We want to survive as Hungarians, to preserve our identity as Hungarians. That's what we did, and survived.
He saw a lot as a young boy, as he would later as an adult. In 1944, German tanks rolled into Hungary. His country was now in the hands of a foreign power, and not for the last time.
And you know, me thinking back to my school years, I almost say that those were my happiest years in my life. Being under a terrible regime, terrible things that happened all around us. We were starving practically, but we were studying cinematography. Being in a film school was like an island in the craziness.
I grew up in New Jersey. My family was sentimental about beautiful pictures, a beautiful script. We saw every film you ever shot and talked about them at the dinner table. These were important. This has got to look pretty close to the way it did in the old days, yeah?
Oh, yeah. It didn't change much.
Through it all, for Vilmos, there was this place, however, a very special place for a boy growing up during wartime, the movie house, where he saw his first films.
So what memorable films did you see in this theater?
Das Strafnitzhülsensekt, der Wiener Schnitzel mit der Lagerwirten und das Sauerkraut.
My probably best experience that I had in my life, I was in Hungary, see Chaplin's The Dictator.
Democracy stunk.
Democracy is fragrant.
Liberty stunk.
Liberty is odious.
Free sprechen stunk.
Freedom of speech is objectionable.
A great experience, you know. Chaplin did such a great job, you know.
Some films, of course, resonated more than others. The power of the visual image intensified maybe by what was going on just outside that dark room. Films could be inspiring. They could also be dangerous.
It was so magic to me. I mean, they still are. To go to a film, especially a dangerous one that was just where the subject matter and the content was different, and to see that, it just, oh my God, what do I do with my life now after seeing this?
This theater, by the way, is now named in his honor.
When you look at footage you took during the revolution, you're not in those pictures, but do you see yourself? I mean, do you remember what it felt like?
I remember that I was actually fed to death. Shooting actually those Russian tanks, you know, going through there, you know, that can shoot me. I felt that I had to photograph it. Tanks were going from one side to the other side of the Danube, and
There were tanks coming across this?
well, yes, actually, it was a pretty cold day too.
Yeah.
Not this cold, but it was raining, it was bad weather, so it was very much, you know, in sync with what was happening in Budapest.
After the war, a Cold War. Hungary now found itself firmly in the grip of the Soviet Union. Germans had been replaced by Russian commissars and their obedient Hungarian functionaries. Young Vilmos Zsigmond was now at film school in Budapest, learning his craft, along with his new best friend, who'd also go on to become a legendary cinematographer, Laszlo Kovacs. Then, in 1956, something amazing happened.
Hated emblems of red tyranny went down as Hungarian patriots for 10 glorious days sent Russian armored might reeling in a struggle which pitted raw courage and rifles against tanks.
A few blocks away, where the statue of Stalin used to be, and then the first night, actually, when the revolution started, the people wanted to take the statue down. It took about a couple hours, actually, to cut Mr. Stalin's legs off. And they actually dragged him around the city, you know, the next day. People and took pieces home as a souvenir.
To date, this was something that had never been done. The Hungarians took to the streets. A revolution. That's when Vilmos and Laszlo and some pals snuck 35mm cameras and film out of their school's equipment room and at great risk to themselves, joined their countrymen in the streets, documenting the revolt and the aftermath. These images are from some of that historic footage. It seemed for 10 glorious days that freedom had finally come. Encouraged by the West and by CIA radio broadcasts in particular, the Hungarians believed that help was on its way, that this was it. They dug in and fought, hoping to hold out until help arrived. On November 4th, a desperate plea went out over the airwaves.
This is Hungary calling. This is Hungary calling. For the sake of God and freedom and Hungary.
The Russians had been beaten back for a time, but now they doubled down with a vengeance, pouring tanks and troops and heavy armor back into Budapest and brutally and all too effectively put down the resistance. Help never came.
I mean, this is a place where a lot of things happen. It used to be the AVO headquarters. I never shot this before, so this is probably the first time I'm going to have this building shot.
So this was the internal secret police. So if someone came at night with a van and you were taken away, you ended up being interrogated here.
Yes.
Secret Police headquarters in 1956, the site of a firefight between snipers on the roof and their fellow citizens below.
Then the people got into the building, went up there, caught them, brought them down, and killed them, actually. Basically, and hang them on the streets.
Hung them here.
Hang them in one of those streets there. And tried to find a tree which they hung those people up there. You don't know one of these trees.
Had you seen people killed before the revolution?
No. It's a very tragic moment.
The building is abandoned. The door, as it turns out, wide open.
Oh, wow. Oh, look at that.
It still feels sad. A little haunted,
Yes,
yeah?
Well, those were vicious times, you know. People's life was not really important for these people. They were cruel. Picking up people at midnight and taking them somewhere, and some of them went to Siberia. They killed so many people after that time, unfortunately, like photographed us, you know. And they went through the film. Many people were in trouble and many were killed. $200,000 people left the country that time, Hungarians.
How long did you stick around?
Almost 3 weeks. And that's when we realized that nothing is going to change.
You left Hungary with a lot of cans of film.
As much as we could carry. We had just enough money, basically, to get to America.
The soundtrack to Old Budapest, the ubiquitous gypsy violin, found at one time in every cafe or restaurant. It's a hard life, that of a professional musician, as true a statement in Budapest as anywhere. These guys are Budapest Bar, an eclectic troupe of extraordinary musicians united by their dedication to that uniquely Hungarian crossroads of gypsy and classical music. So, what does a band do when an hour is late and sustenance and perhaps some strong drink is required? It's back to the flat of lead violinist Robbie and his manager wife, Andrea. And of course, they must play more music.
Do you have to be gypsy to play the gypsy music? Yeah, no hesitation.
He says it's very rare that anybody who is not a gypsy can play gypsy music. In gypsy music, the whole lifestyle, the whole spirit is in. And kids start learning it when they are 2 or 3. By the time you are 8, you have all these ingredients in your blood.
Margit Bongo, basically the Aretha Franklin of Hungarian gypsy music, a household name, also a fantastic cook. Extraordinary singing talent does not preclude her from overseeing a classic lineup of dishes like chicken paprikash, whole perch roasted in bacon, stuffed cabbage filled with goose meat, and slow cooked. And of course, the inevitable goulash, the iconic dish you see everywhere, but rarely as good as this.
Thank you. Should I put a little sour cream on there?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
She says it's her own special recipe.
Luxurious. If you're a musician and living in Budapest right now, this is a good time to be a musician?
Nem. Nagyon rossz.
It's not a good time.
Nagyon rossz.
Depends on the view.
Soha az életben ilyen, mint Magyarországon, a muzikus társadalom, az teljesen halott.
It's very bad for the gypsy musicians, generally speaking, because it's dead. It's completely, apart from things like Budapest Bar, gypsy music is extinct.
Is heartbreak, is sadness an important part of this music? I mean, Hungary is a country that has experienced a lot of heartbreak.
So it is a lot of heartbreaks, it's a lot of difficulties. And,
Szokták mondani, hogy sír a hegedűje.
and there is another saying that the violin is crying, the gypsy violin is crying, or there is another one that even if we have joy, we cry, the Hungarian.
Tonight, Vilmos has invited me to the home of his longtime friend and colleague in the film business, Richie Romwalter. Vilmos met Richie on the set of a movie more than 20 years ago, and they've been friends and partners ever since.
Your health, that's what it is.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
In Hungarian, it would be egészségedre.
I'll never learn to pronounce that.
Just egészségedre.
Shegedra.
Yeah, egészségedre.
The smart ass.
Richie's wife Maria, daughter Judith, Vilmos's wife Susan, friends and family reunite for the best of simple pleasures. We start with a rich caraway and onion and paprika soup, finished with homemade croutons. There's marha perkolt, a deeply rich, deeply warming beef stew with some smoked pork sausage mixed in for good measure, cooked slowly for hours, and of course, heavy on the paprika. Traditional cucumber salad. To accompany the stew, nokedli, boiled dumplings.
Our style in photography was not realism. We called it poetic realism. That's what we always thought about what cinematography is. We are emphasizing basically the beauty of the things, but also I make it more beautiful than it is.
Why is Hungary so strong on photography?
I think they were very strong on mathematics, which was, in the early days, connected to photography. Vilmos tells me about his education in math. It was totally different than what I received.
Very good at school.
That's what I said, that schools in Hungary were very, very good.
This is no kind of an answer to me. You've made some of the most iconically beautiful images that, you know, we've known in the modern world. And you keep telling me, well, I was smart in school, or I was good at math, or it was a good...
Tell me, what would you like to hear?
I was touched by God. I don't know what I'm... If you are regularly creating the sublime, I'm looking for a metaphysical answer. I don't know.
We learn this. We learn to be an artist.
So if I would ask you that, how was dinner?
So deeply delicious. Thank you. Oh, really good. Really good. Wow.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad. What a great meal. Thank you.
Do we emerge fully formed with a God-given eye for pictures, images that can move people? Or are we the end result of all the things we've seen, all the things we've done, the places we've been, the places, the people we've had to leave behind, all that's happened in your life? Is it those things that bring the light or the darkness to the blank screen? And what about the faces of those we capture in our magic lenses for a minute or a second or an hour? Afterwards, should we think about them and where they might be now? And vacation over, as we headed home to our regular beds, our daily lives of school and homework and ordinary things, maybe my little brother, maybe I, would wake up and look out the window at the night sky, and suddenly it would fill with stars and golden mist. And we'd pretend for a second we were somehow deep inside the Milky Way. A million winking lights. But we knew where we really were. We were almost home.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
O enchanted land of my childhood. A cultural petri dish from which regularly issues forth greatness. New Jersey, in case you didn't know it, has got beaches. Beautiful beaches. And they're not all crawling with roid-raging trolls with reality shows. I grew up summering on those beaches, and they are awesome. Jersey's got farmland. Beautiful bedroom communities where that woman from Real Housewives who looks like Dr. Zayas does not live, nor anyone like her. Even the refineries. The endless clover leaves of turnpikes and expressways twisting in unknowable patterns over the wetlands are to me somehow beautiful. To know Jersey is to love her. Fort Lee. You may have heard of it. Some of Governor Christie's minions allegedly conspired to jam up traffic for a few days. It's a town with a jokey history of corruption. It's also where my beloved Hiram's is. Open since 1932 and pretty much unchanged ever since, my dad started bringing me and my younger brother Chris here in the 50s, and they still honor tradition.
2 chili cheese sauce.
My happy place. Sometimes I just need that old-time flavor, you know? So as soon as I could chew food, basically my dad would take me here. It is a great point of pride and personal satisfaction. And I've convinced my daughter that these are the finest hot dogs in the land. She gets very excited to come out here, which makes me very happy. Thank you. Thank you. Now this is key. These toothpicks, just like 1958. Some things just shouldn't change. My dad used to love piccalilli, red relish. I love this stuff. Look at that beauty. Oh, yeah. I come here to feed my soul, the cultural wellspring that is New Jersey. It's the antidote to every other place. This place is perfect. The dogs are amazing. And there are not a lot of people in this world like courageous enough to not change.
Down the shore. Yeah, we actually talked like that. It was what we did. Go down the shore. Not just our family from Bergen County near the bridge, but middle-class and working-class families from Philly and all over who'd pack up the kids in the station wagon for the seemingly interminable trip to Long Beach Island.
Just getting out of the driveway was a big deal.
Plus, it always took 3 extra hours just to load the damn cars.
There was always drama.
Strapping crap to the roof of the car.
Where once we were over the Manahawkin Bridge, the excitement would ratchet up. Ship Bottom, then Surf City, Harvey Cedars, Love Ladies, ticking off the town names until finally, Barnegat Light.
New. These are all new. I mean, look, that's original.
Yeah, definitely.
In fact, I think I know who lived there at one point.
And that's definitely old school.
But look, let's face it, it's been how many years? I mean, like 40...
There's a 400, I think.
Jesus, we're old. And the lighthouse.
Definitely remember going to that lighthouse a lot of times.
Oh, the good old days. I want some fried clam strips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, our options are limited, shall we say, but holy crap, this place is filling up.
I think it's because it's the only place.
Yeah, but still, who lives out here year-round?
We're about to see every single one of them.
Let's be honest. When we come here in the summers, I was the bad one.
Yes, your recollection is correct.
I was up to every variety of criminal, antisocial behavior down here. I didn't smoke dope for the first time here. I was looking for dope, but as a 12-year-old, it was hard to come by.
I think I vaguely remember you walking off with some kind of cute girl.
First kiss, that was an important passage. Oh, it's good.
This is good.
I realize now that I hitchhiked regularly.
Yeah.
Mom, Dad, I want to go down to Ship Bottom tonight, with some friends. How are you getting there? Well, hitchhike down. Okay, have fun.
That was cool. All the kids were hitching here. That's how you got places here.
Summertime. You know that sound? Just out of the water, ears pressed up against the beach blanket, the squeak of bare feet on sand nearby. Classics Illustrated comics waiting for me back at the house. I'd play with my little plastic army man in the dunes.
There's a smell of beach grass in the dunes. Can you remember it?
I still crave it. I love it.
And on special occasions, clams and drawn butter. No matter where I find them now, they always bring me back here.
I remember this place with nothing but fondness. I mean, I can't remember a single bad memory here.
It was great. People you knew from last year were here. You'd roll out onto the street. Your parents didn't need to be with you. Have a campfire on the beach at night. You'd set off firecrackers, all this stuff they wouldn't let you do at home.
The beach would look different. For a couple of days, the whole beach would be like this weird foamy surf, like these giant, like frothy bubbles. Oh, yeah. Here, now we're talking. Thank you.
Yeah, or there would be the jellyfish delivery sometimes, where there'd be like millions of them all over the place.
Infestation of jellyfish, right. I tried to block that out.
That wonderful feeling like, you were with other 10-year-olds alone at night, on the beach. It was great.
Love clam strips.
These are great.
This is awesome. So far, so great. I'm happy. Properly battered piece of fish, some good tartar sauce. What were your favorite activities?
Building a fire on the beach.
Right. Overturning the lifeguard sand.
Yes, had to go.
They were representatives of the man.
Firecrackers on the beach.
Firecrackers on the beach.
I have some firecrackers in your car, by the way. Just saying.
Look, set them off in the elevator at the casino.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
It was paradise, America's first dream vacation. The beach, as far as America was concerned, meaning bathing suits and swimming in the surf, was pretty much invented here. Atlantic City. Rich or working class, it was here for you. Back then, you dressed up to walk the boardwalk. It was capitalism at its purest and most assertive. It was a democratic dream, designed from the beginning for everybody. Flashy, utilitarian. Upright, deeply, unapologetically corrupt. The Knife and Fork Inn was right there through it all. In many ways, its story a perfect reflection of changing times. Established in 1912 as a so-called gentlemen's dining and drinking club, the second floor originally had curtained alcoves and a separate ladies' lounge. Private rooms on the third and fourth floor were set aside for games of chance and perhaps other activities. Vicky Gold-Levy's dad was the chief photographer for Atlantic City from the 1930s through the 1960s. He saw it all, and by extension, so did Vicky.
What was it like here as a kid?
It was fantastic. Walking down the boardwalk in the summertime was like walking in a carnival in a midway. The cacophony of noises.
There were still remnants of the 20s.
Yeah.
That sensibility, that look, handlebar mustaches, Victorian graphic design and illustration, a weird stuck-in-time feel was still very much in evidence, even in my time here in the early 60s. The boardwalk was over 6 miles of amusements, entertainments, parades, and pageants, a never-ending carnival.
Every place you went down the boardwalk was something else to see. And all the stores were like mom and pop stores. They were all very unique.
Yes.
And I love that.
The world-famous Steel Pier, amusement arcades, Barkers, novelties, saltwater taffy.
I loved the joke shops.
The joke shops.
It was a wonderland of juvenile delinquency because I got to just buy, plastic dog crap and plastic vomit and smoke powder, and it was just something very sinister and forbidden. And my parents indulged me when I was here.
The menu has changed somewhat since the original. For me, a very tasty pretzel-crusted swordfish over lump crab meat. For Vicky, pan-seared scallops.
My memories of Atlantic City are largely built around the time before gambling. Times were not good. I mean, the Marlboro Blenheim, I remember it well, was largely empty, but it was a magnificent structure.
I mean, you and I like the nostalgia, and people who like Coney Island like it, but I don't know about the young people.
Beautiful buildings are beautiful buildings. A beautiful view is beautiful view forever.
Yes.
There's no place with this kind of history and legitimacy. This place has deep, romantic allure.
I agree with you. I believe in the transition that's coming. I really, really do, with all my heart.
The kinds of businesses you talked about that used to be here, it's not a matter of, gee, it would be really great if that kind of thing happened again. It is inevitable that that will happen again. And it's worth fixing. Atlantic City could be chic, easily, because the bones, the skeleton of the city are beautiful.
I'm glad you feel that way.
There is, even in very young people, particularly now, beautiful old things. A beautiful old restaurant with really great food, for instance.
Eating it right now?
Is much more interesting than a glass box with good food.
The names of Atlantic City streets were imprinted on generations of Americans who grew up playing Monopoly. Drive down Ventnor Avenue today and you see history. The ebb and flow of America's hopes and dreams played out in the buildings and homes you see as you pass by. Magnificent mansions mixed in with inexpensive two-family houses, cheap takeout, the footprints of a lost world. The Riviera of the Northeast, still there if you look between. With jet travel in Miami and an expanded highway system, things decline, as they do. But a few visionary geniuses presented a solution. A cure that would overnight make everybody well, make Atlantic City shiny and new and prosperous again. Men like Donald Trump.
I think it's going to be really very beneficial to everybody. We look forward to operating the Taj Mahal successfully for many years to come.
Vast new Xanadus would be constructed, and would-be Kublai Khans rushed to Atlantic City, eager to tap into what was assured would be a never-ending gusher of prosperity. Casino gambling.
When casino gambling was sold to the state of New Jersey, to Atlantic City, as the cure-all who was going to bring it back to its glory days, did that ever happen?
When you drove around today, do you think this place is better than it was then? Do you think it helped?
No, I don't.
New Jersey native Brian Donahue is a reporter with 20 years' experience focusing on South Jersey. Doc's Oyster House, an establishment that survived Prohibition, the Great Depression, 2 world wars, numerous declines and rebirths. Still here, still great, a symbol of what Atlantic City was and should be again, could be again.
To bring a city back after its decline is a really complicated, hard process, and they wanted easy answers, and casino gambling was seen as an easy answer.
Yes, it sure sounded like a good idea.
They were going to put this plan in effect, 12 casinos here, and bring everybody up from the top down. It hasn't worked. Now you're left with just 12 casinos.
And if you're looking for an example of lemming-like lurch towards a shiny new cliff face from which to tumble, look no further than this $2.4 billion goat rodeo, the Revel. It opened in 2012 and closed less than 2 years later. The most expensive casino in New Jersey history.
They just forged ahead with it. The hubris was incredible.
What were they thinking?
Short-term money. And at a time when all these other casinos are opening all over the entire East Coast.
Which is nuts. It's economics 101.
Casinos, of course, by design, neglect the city's existing assets. Salt air, a walk by the glorious North Atlantic, the greatest of all the Earth's bodies of water, the classic attractions, the restaurants.
This is what it's going to take for Atlantic City to come back. It's going to be on places like this. Celebrate the ghosts, you know?
Some nice crab cakes at Doc's, a big freaking lobster stuffed with crab imperial, pomme souffle. Those things are bad for business. The business of taking your money.
Yes, thank you so much. Lovely. That'll work. That's good. I don't want to sound like I'm down on Atlantic City because I see it as an incredibly, almost ludicrously hopeful place. So whatever left of it should be, to my mind, hung on to, because they're going to come around.
There's nothing funny about losing all your money. Yet casinos are steady employers of that most hard-working species of entertainer. Comedians Rich Voss and Bonnie McFarlane are 2 of the hardest-working people around, married to each other and New Jersey.
It's so much money to live here. I drove 3 exits on the Jersey Turnpike. It was $7. So if you drive the whole New Jersey Turnpike, when you get to the end, you have to give them your car.
I'm gonna tell you guys something that I don't generally tell people right away. I'm a vegan. I'm very passionate about it. It's all about eating a cruelty-free lifestyle. No animal or animal byproduct of any kind. I do cheat a little. I eat veal. So good, so tender. How do they get it like that?
I'm very sentimental about Jersey Italian, particularly spaghetti and meatballs. That's what I was going to go for.
I've eaten here at least 5 to 10 times, and I've never had a bad meal, ever.
Okay, I know what exactly.
I wouldn't get the meatballs.
Proud longtime residents of New Jersey?
No.
I've lived here 9 years, but only been proud maybe the last 2. It took me a long time to sort of...
Get up to speed?
Yeah.
Born and bred.
Yes, my whole life.
He won't leave. I had to make peace with it.
When's the first time you played Atlantic City?
There was a club at the Sands. Many times I would get paid on Thursday, and I would lose it all. And then I'd have to work for free. There's no worse feeling.
Oh, I know that feeling.
It's a nightmare.
You ever watch a couple in Atlantic City?
Okay, dear, hold this money. Don't give it back to me no matter what I tell you. I don't care what I say. An hour later, give me my goddamn money. No, I'm not fooling around. You're lucky I even brought you here, bitch. You better give me my money. You're the reason I'm losing, touching my arm when I'm shooting craps.
Is there a specifically Jersey sense of humor that
Yes,
you've noticed?
I love Jersey audiences now so much because I've never one time ever said anything where people in the audience have gone, oh, they never get offended.
We all have our words, you know, that we don't like, the ones that affect us the most. I have my trigger words. As a white woman, the word I don't like is no. I don't hear it that often, but when I do,
Here's the deal with Jersey. People land at Newark, and they drive up the turnpike. They don't turn off and go up into the night.
They see the refineries.
They think that's New Jersey.
How sick is it that I think it's beautiful?
More horses per capita than any other state.
Northern New Jersey is the embroidery capital of the world.
Yeah.
Apparently. I don't know where that's happening.
My ex-wife worked for an embroidery company.
No.
I swear to God. I'll call her right now.
This is a taste of my youth. For all of the marvelous things about New Jersey, will people ever come across the bridge and the tunnel in the other direction?
No.
No, okay.
I did not have to think about that.
Let's go out to a club in Jersey. No.
No, but you know what?
So-
It's all relative. A 25-year-old guy or girl is going, we're not going to Jersey. A 60-year-old person is going, I'm getting out of the city and I'm
There's your
moving to
answer.
Jersey.
There's your answer. It's never going to be you.
You know what? Where does hipness stop? At what age?
Hipness is overrated.
Yeah, it is overrated. You know what? I love living here. I love it. Pine Valley, the best golf course in the country. Trump has beautiful course
Wait
here.
a minute. Trump. I'm not a fan.
Who is?
Every minute that he walks here, it demands a certain complicity to not shout out. Will you look at that ridiculous looking head? It's like if you have a disfigurement, that sort of tacit agreement that I'm just not going to bring it up. That's too much to ask of me in Trump's case. I want to scream.
Do you know why he puts his names on the building? So the banks know which ones to take back, okay? At least he's a humble guy. Jesus.
There are few American cities, places where things have gone as disastrously wrong as Camden, New Jersey. It's like the poster child for everything a city could screw up. Once a manufacturing powerhouse, home to the New York Shipbuilding Corporation, the Campbell's Soup Company, and RCA Victor Records. A company town. About 80,000 people live here today. That's the same number of people who were employed during its heyday. Nearly 40% of the city's high school students don't graduate. The entire police force replaced by the state. More than 1/3 of city residents live below the poverty line. Voter turnout, not good. If there's any place one could be forgiven for just throwing your hands up in the air and giving up, it's here. But no. Cities with serious problems need extraordinary people. And Tawanda Jones is clearly an extraordinary person.
When you give, especially to someone who is really in need, you know, I feel, it makes me feel complete.
Her late grandfather, Walter Green Jr., was a former military man, an employee of RCA, and a bodyguard for the great boxer, Jersey Joe Walcott.
He was just like the protector. You know, if you need anything, you go to Mr. Dynamite. That was his nickname.
He was also a man who believed in being part of the community. When Tawanda was 15, she was asked to lead a local drill team. Unfortunately, it soon lost its funding. Walter purchased 80 uniforms and 3 drums to give them a start.
Move! Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure.
Today, CSS, the Camden Sophisticated Sisters drill team, which includes the Distinguished Brothers and Taps, the almighty percussion sound, have over 320 participants.
Good job, babies. Good job. Clap it up for yourself. Clap it up. Clap it up.
We meet at neighborhood stalwart Tony and Ruth Stakes, still doing what they do.
It doesn't get any better than this.
What was Camden like back in the good old days?
Oh my God. It was so different coming up when I was younger. I didn't have to worry about, my life being threatened coming outside, The neighborhood, everyone knew everybody. That sense of community was strong back then.
You're talking about your childhood as if it was a real long time ago. It's not that long ago. I'm an older
All right.
What the hell went wrong?
People can blame it on the politics, but I think that's just too easy. Many have failed our children, but it's up to the parents to really start getting more involved in the kids' education. Know what your child is doing.
So you're putting it principally on the parents?
Absolutely.
This is tasty.
Those are delicious.
So the conventional wisdom seemed to be, it's time to get out of Camden. Why are you still here?
Because the need is in Camden. If every decent person in Camden leaves Camden, then we never have a chance. In order to be a part of the program, they have to maintain a C average or better.
Right.
It's all about their academics. It's all about nurturing these kids. What's right, what's wrong, The drill team does that. They have different sayings that they go by every day. It's a start without a finish. It is possible.
It's never impossible. If I can believe that I can achieve, it's possible, possible, possible.
And they believe this. They say it so much until it's embedded.
Tawanda has helped CSS support itself with financial assistance from fellow parents and some fundraising, temporary help and donations from small businesses. But surprisingly for a group with a national profile, no lasting support from official organizations or national institutions, public or private. Yet, she perseveres.
A lot of your practices are done outdoors.
Right.
All-weather type of a situation.
Yes, we've been under bridges, everything. Over 28 years, we've been outside. Their safety is the most important to me, but it's been a blessing and a curse, because you'll have the corner boys come up to you and ask you, Miss Wawa, are you having practice outside today? And I'll say, yeah, and they're like, today's not a good day. And I'm like, okay, all right, thank you very much.
That's nice.
Right, and I appreciate it, trust me.
How do you keep these kids off the corner?
I'm quite aware that times are hard, but I just try to show them an alternative route, saying that there's so much more out there than this. Some of them call me Major Pain, but it's all out of love. They need that structure and discipline in life, period. To go to work, to go to school.
They're doing it because it's fun?
Right.
But it's hard.
Yeah.
You're asking people to do a hard thing, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I gotta ask, I'm gonna guess that in the years that you've been doing this, you had to have had your heart broken many times. You had to have seen kids who you really believed in fall by the wayside. And I'm guessing a lot. How do you go on?
We do have a lot of sad stories, but we have more good. Our good outweighs the bad, And I keep going just for that reason. Before I was a little hard on myself, and I used to actually think that I could save all the kids. I know that's not the case. I just do the best that I can do. And just pray that the next kid doesn't, fall by the wayside.
How do you not become cynical? Do you harden your heart, or you just...
No, actually, I have to replenish myself, or I'm not going to be any good to them or my own family. These kids are like precious cargo to me. Some have pretty tough lives. Some of them have the responsibility of a 30-something-year-old. They're holding down their homes and their only kids. No kid shouldn't have to go through that.
25 years down the road, what do you think Camden's going to be like?
Wow. I'm praying that it turns into the Camden that I remember. And I know that I'm helping our future leaders to become a part of that change. I'm very hopeful, and there's no doubt in my mind that there is going to be a positive Camden. No doubt.
You're going to stay?
I'm not going anywhere. My pop-up didn't leave. I'm not leaving.
Yeah, I know. Philadelphia is right over there, right across the Ben Franklin Bridge, the center of the cheesesteak universe. But what if it isn't? They're better than that. They're bigger than that. And the best cheesesteak in the area might well come from New Jersey. Donkeys, opened by Leon Lucas 71 years ago. A heavyweight contender in the 1928 Summer Olympics in boxing, he was known during his time in the cavalry as the Donkey.
They said he had a punch like the kick of a mule. So somebody gave him the handle Donkey, and he kept it.
His son Robert runs the joint now, and this is what they do here. Behold, the Jersey cheesesteak.
Pleasure to meet you.
So this is the place, the best cheesesteak in South Jersey, unless I'm mistaken?
In New Jersey.
In New Jersey, period.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between Jersey style and Philadelphia style?
Yeah, we do ours on a round, poppy seed, Kaiser roll.
Really? I'll have one of those. What's the way to go? I mean, anything I need to know or just...
No, a regular, cheese and onions.
Beautiful thing.
I need one, Paulie.
It's round. It's got steak, spices, browned onions, real American cheese, such as it is, and a poppy seed roll.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
And it is sublime.
Relish, what do you think?
That's hot pepper, yeah, a little bit that
A
won't
little
hurt.
bit. Oh, man, I drove a long way for this. Thinking about it the whole way.
Good.
Man, it should be like a national landmark right away. This sandwich is unbelievably good.
Thanks.
Really a thing of beauty.
That's good to hear.
Worth driving across the state in a blizzard for.
Well, we get a lot of people from Philly.
No way. Philly?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Wow, that's treason. Do they like change the plates on their car and like wear a disguise? I mean,
It's different. The poppy seeds help.
yeah, no, I like this roll. It's awesome. That's delicious. Well, I think we learned something here today. Jersey cheesesteaks. I'm not saying they're better than Philadelphia. Yeah, I am, actually. So there. It's just great.
Glad you enjoyed it.
The forests and empty spaces of New Jersey are vast, and often empty of everything but legend. You live here if you like a quieter life, of not being messed with. 1.2 million acres of Atlantic cedar, swampland, forests. It goes on and on, seemingly at times forever. It's easy to get lost.
In the backwater marshes, where the cranberries grow.
When I was a kid, as we passed through the pine barrens on the way to the shore, we joked nervously about pineys, the strange, possibly inbred tribes of people who actually lived out there, somewhere between the trees. That was what we believed anyway. Paul Evans Peterson, jeweler, musician, author, and proud piney. We meet at the disconcertingly friendly Lucille's in Warren Grove for a delicious breakfast.
The legend of the Jersey Devil was Mother Leeds had 12 kids, found herself pregnant with the 13th and say, may this child be a devil. There's many legends that are told about it, but that legend says that when the Jersey Devil was born, it morphed into this creature, flew up the chimney, and was going into the night. Other legends say it killed everybody in the room. It's supposed to have the head of a horse, wings of a bat, hoofs, but you have people that say they've seen horns on it. It breathes fire. It's got a real long tail with a triangle on it.
I mean, it sounds like My Little Pony with a forked tail. It doesn't sound frightening to me.
It's supposed to have big red eyes, and some people say the head of a goat.
It's a big goat's a little scarier.
The folks that live in the Barrens, they have a story they tell about that old Leeds woman and her child from hell. The night he's born, he took wings off and flew out into the night. Say you still hear him screaming when the conditions are right. Yeah, I swear it's true. These Pine Barren Blues.
What's out there? Who are pineys? Do they roam the forest at night searching for souls to capture?
Nah, pineys are people that live in the Pine Barrens. There was a time years ago that if you would have called somebody like that a piney, you'd have got shot.
Really?
But now people embrace it. People like to to be thought of as living off the land. They have bumper stickers now, you know, Piney Power. So
how do you make your living?
It's good to farm blueberries and cranberries.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of fishing, a lot of clamming. Hopefully the oystering is coming back in the Delaware Bay. The bay supported a lot of jobs.
The Pine Barrens have been settled for a long time.
Long time. Some of the first people that came here were the glass makers and saw this incredible sand that we have out here called sugar sand. Pure white, and it's perfect for making glass, to the point that it didn't have to be washed or processed in any other way. There was hundreds of glass works. They're just ruins now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So it's not like the rest of Jersey here.
Oh, no. And I hope it stays like it. It's like a Jersey unto itself. But out here, like you saw, had a long drive to get anywhere.
But that's good, by the way. That's really good.
Yeah, isn't it great?
You want to talk mythic, epic, storied, anthemic, that sort of thing? Welcome to Asbury Park, wellspring of American music of a certain kind. Home to Yes, the Boss, and the Jersey National Anthem, Born to Run. Springsteen, Bon Jovi, Little Steven. But before them, there was this man, Southside Johnny, who with his Asbury Jukes pretty much created the template for the Jersey sound. A place, and really it could have only been this place, that changed music and lyrics forever.
Asbury Park. It's had a reputation as being a happy hunting ground for musicians because what? A lot of bars?
A lot of bars. It just was a tradition of bands playing here, which is funny because the town was started not to have alcohol and not that kind of music. But after a while, the pressure just was too much for entertainment for people to come here, and it morphed into an R&B and rock and roll haven.
Most bars don't hire musicians. They don't hire bands. They have too much trouble.
Well, this is the Jersey Shore, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jersey Shore means people want entertainment. It's not just hard drinking people. There's people here on vacation in the summer.
But Atlantic City didn't have that reputation.
Well, we're not Atlantic City. We're Asbury Park.
All right.
As I always like to say, good is good forever. Great music, great songs, and a classic Jersey sandwich. And at Frank's, they honor that Jersey tradition of assertive layers of sliced ham, salami, pepperoni, provolone, with some tomato, onions, shredded lettuce. You got your roasted peppers in there, and most important, your oil and vinegar, which soaks into that soft, fresh-baked bread and marries it all together into a soggy, glorious delivery vehicle for deliciousness.
Here we go.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Oh, it's such a beautiful thing that they shred the lettuce and everything. You used to come here as a kid?
Yes, my father, he would order like a pastrami sandwich.
Yeah.
And I'd eat like a third of it, and he'd eat the rest of it. And then my brother would eat eggs and bacon, so we had to order what he liked. But he was a real trencherman. He could really eat.
Asbury Park, like its close cousin Atlantic City, with whom it had so much in common, suffered from much the same problems. 14 years ago, last time I came, it was a shell of itself. Dying, the beaches empty, a sad and forlorn place. Unlike Atlantic City, though, Asbury Park fought to fix itself to become again the kind of place that anybody would want to live in. They didn't look for a magic bullet like casino gambling. And to a great extent, they've succeeded by keeping alive what made Asbury Park special. They hung on to what was important. Like this place, where any overgrown child still wants to play.
Misspent youth. Thank God.
What? Tilt all? No way. That's delicate.
Come on, hit, baby, hit. Ah, man, these are tough.
This is important for children.
I think so.
You know, your first exposure to racy images of women are all set in some sort of 20s fetishistic alternate universe. Also, it teaches you shame.
And teaches you humility when you lose.
And exactly the limits of how much you can break the rules before it tilts.
You know, I think they should have tilt for all sorts of things.
I think so, too.
You step over the line in a bar talking to a young lady,
Tilt.
And that way you know you got to start again. I tilted it already. I barely touched it. What are they talking about?
That's what they all say.
Wait a minute. I got un god. See here, I got a nut. God! Let me play.
As I like to say, good is good forever. The Atlantic Ocean will always be magnificent. Looking at it, always a humbling, even educational experience. It teaches us that men come and go. But no matter how foolish or outsized their dreams, how badly they screw up, what we do here at the ocean's edge, the sea will outlast us. Will always draw us to her edges. When necessary, it will crush us.
I mean, look at the Taj. This is completely oblivious to everything going on around it.
Yeah.
And that has got to be the most butt-ugly building ever.
I noticed last night that some of the lights on the sign on the building are out.
Yeah, it's like Trump.
So, something like that, yeah.
Or Tump.
Or Rump.
I mean, it's sort of perfect, actually. If you think of Trump as sort of carnival barker, his operations is designed to attract rubes and empty.
Yeah.
You've got sort of a perfect metaphor here.
Yeah.
I hate sweets, but I'm a sucker for nostalgia. You can't go back, I can't go back. Hell, I wouldn't even if I could. I sure don't want to ever have to be a teenager again. But those tastes and smells of childhood, they work still.
Now, you're telling me you were not a big saltwater taffy fan?
I just remember it was hard to chew.
You had braces, remember? So this was probably
It may have been
problematic.
before that, I don't know. I can't remember if I had braces at that point.
I don't like candy generally, but these have a mystical hold on me. Man, even the color of the wrapper has this weird, you know, like there should be weird music playing in the background. Molasses, I totally remember that. Getting a bunch of those. I don't know why certain flavors really resonate. The peanut, I know exactly what that tastes like. I remember the vanilla really powerfully. Like, I'm not even a vanilla guy really, I'm more of a chocolate guy.
I think I remember pink ones, so they must have had strawberry.
Wintergreen, I remember.
Licorice sounds good.
Peppermints. We keep these in the car.
Fried cookies and cream. Does it melt?
Whoa, it's a lot of taffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff isn't fattening, by the way. You can eat as much as you want.
Is it gluten-free?
It's all natural.
That's what I thought.
Atlantic City will never die. Good is indeed good forever. And Atlantic City will be great again. Asbury Park, Camden, all of my home state. I'm convinced when the tide has come and washed all the greed heads away, we'll once again be magic. I hope I'm there to see it.